Junk journal tags, tucks, and mini books. I've got 5 more DIY embellishments for your journal pockets, including a tiny one that fits in the palm of your hand and a fun little trick with pom-poms. Plus, I have a question for you about the future of this channel and a new project, and I'd love to get your thoughts. Here we go, y'all. Well, hello and welcome to Pink Paper Peppermints. I'm Melissa and I'm so glad you're here on my channel today. We are making pocket fillers, and the first one we're doing is this inked envelope from our pocket video, and I'll link that if you'd like to see that. And I'm using gift wrap tissue and I'm just attaching it to a book page. And a little tip, you can just sew it right on or glue it right on and then trim your book page later. I am not a big measuring person, so I really like this tip. And if you're not a measuring person, I think you'll like it too. So next I want to put a tab on the top of my little pocket filler, and I just use a piece of fabric and some doily, just scraps that were on my desk really, and some ribbon and some flowers, sewed it on with a zigzag stitch. Of course you could use a stapler or adhesive, but I really recommend that you try sewing. A lot of you are telling me that you're not sewers, but it's so easy to sew on paper. It's not the same thing as sewing fabric. You don't have to measure, you don't have to be precise, and it's really fun. So one of the things about this pocket filler is it provides a place for hidden journaling. You can see through the window there when I pull it out, you can have a journaling back there, or you could have it on the back of your tag as well. So now we're going to make some tuck-ins for our fabric pockets that you see there. We made those in our pocket video, and I've got this little scrap of paper that I actually used to protect the window on the envelope pocket, and it got all inky, and I decided it would be really cute as a little tri-fold mini pocket. So we're going to fold it into 3 and we're going to create a little pocket, and I'm using some graph paper to line it. I really liked how the graph paper was showing through the parchment paper, and I found this little scrap that was the perfect size to create a little slash pocket on the inside. So I've sewn that with a zigzag stitch. You can use glue if you don't want to sew, and now I'm going to sew the graph paper to the parchment paper also with a zigzag stitch. And now I need something to tuck into my tiny little pocket, and I've got this scrap of journaling card from my Rhythms of Grace collection, and I'm going to fold that in half, and it fit in that pocket just perfectly. So that will be a great place for a quote or a scripture or just some tiny journaling, and we've got that tucked into our top fabric pocket. So the next thing that we're going to make is a mini junk journal. It's so much fun. We're using journaling cards from my brand new collection, A Well-Watered Garden, which I'm really excited about. They're made from vintage wallpaper scraps. So pretty and so fun. So we're going to cut these journaling cards out, and this little book is going to make such a cute pocket filler, but I think it would also be really fun to send in the mail to a friend because it's so small it will fit in just a regular envelope. And the first thing that we're going to do is kind of choose the card based on the design, how it would look folded in half, because that's going to become the cover of our little book. And I'm just checking to make sure it fits in my pocket. And then I'm just going to grab a big pile of scraps from my desk. The fun thing about these mini books is you can use the tiniest scraps for the pages. And now what I'm doing is I'm using this graph paper to make a page template. And if you saw my video about junk journal pages, which I'll link if you didn't see that, I love to make page templates because it makes it really easy to pick out the scraps and to choose what I want to use. And for instance, this piece of paper, I'm looking to see which one of these designs I want to show on the page, and that template really helps me to when I hold it up. Now here I'm using a book page, and instead of cutting it to size for the page, I'm going to fold up the bottom of it and create a little tiny pocket in my mini junk journal, which is so cute. And I'm going to sew that later, and I'll show you that later. This is a piece of map. I've got receipt papers, just leftover book pages. This is a little butterfly from my new collection, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that later. So now I've got all my pages cut out, and I've just sewn them down the middle. I started accidentally with a zigzag stitch, and then I had to change it to a straight stitch. And all the pages are all ready now for embellishments. There's my little pocket page. I just did a little tiny zigzag stitch on the side, and here's my butterfly that I've sewn into the middle, and I typed a little sentiment on that graph paper before I ran it through the sewing machine. And I wanted to show you another neat thing about these little tiny journals is that if you don't want to sew, a stapler will actually fit right into the middle because they're so small. This is my Tim Holtz tiny attacher, and it'll go right in the middle, so you can just staple your little mini book. So now I'm back from the sewing machine, and before I sewed my pages in, I laid a ribbon across the cover and sewed that in with the pages. And I've also added some tiny little pom-pom trim and a tag and some silk flowers, just some little embellishments that were scraps that were on my desk. I found a little piece of cardstock that I used to make a little pocket on that Monopoly money. And you might be wondering, well, what do you put in a tiny journal like this? And just like I typed that sentiment on that graph paper in the center, you could type, you could cut things from magazines. All my journaling cards have scriptures on them. You could cut those out and add them to your tiny journal. So a lot of fun things that you could do with that. So now we're going to make a mini matchbook junk journal from a doily, and I've cut the bottom of the doily off to give us a straight edge to work with, and we're just going to fold that up about 1/4 to 1/2 inch to create a lip, and then we're going to fold the top down and meet the bottom of that fold, and this is going to start to form our matchbook. Then we're going to take our thumb and our middle finger and kind of press in as we press down with our index finger to create that matchbook shape on the top of our doily. And we're just really trying to create a crease. You see when I open it up, you can see the lines there, and that's going to show me where to fold and press for my matchbook. And once I get that all folded and open it up, you'll see that I've got that matchbook shape. And now I just want to cut my doily to size, and you could make it a really wide matchbook or a narrow matchbook. I'm making mine about 1.5 or 2 inches. And then we're going to need to create some pages that are going to go under this little flap, and we're going to staple it. So I'm going to make a page template just like I have with my other books from some graph paper, and then that way I can hold up my little page template to all my different scraps and pick what I want for my pages. And so once I do that, I've got my little stack of pages all ready here, and I'm going to put them into my matchbook, and I'm going to staple, and you want to staple a little towards the bottom so you have room to tuck your flap in. And there we have our beautiful little mini matchbook junk journal tuck-in for our pocket. So now we're going to make what I'm calling a pom-pom topper tag, and you need a manila tag. It doesn't have to be a manila tag, but you want to make sure it's reinforced at the top because we're going to be putting some pressure on the top. You could use my printable tags, just make sure and reinforce it with a little cardstock at the top. And I'm going to be using this hot pink silk scarf that I used for the pockets, and I've got my tag cut to size now, and I'm just going to cut out a little scrap of this pink scarf, and I'm going to sew it to my tag. You could do the same thing with paper, or you could glue some fabric to your tag, and it leaves space on the back for me to journal. And these are the 3 pom-poms I'm using. I made these myself with a clover pom-pom maker. These are so much fun. I highly recommend that you get one. I'll put a link in the description, and there's videos online you can learn how to use it. And I've tied my 3 pom-poms together. You want to tie them in a real tight knot and leave yourself about 6 inches of yarn. I missed it on one of those threads, but we'll make it work. And then you're going to divide those in half, loop them through the top of the tag, and just tie a knot. And you want to adjust the pom-poms so that they're sitting on top of the tag, and then tie another knot really tight so that those pom-poms stay at the top of the tag. And then when you slip your tag into your pocket, you just arrange your pom-poms at the top, and when you close your book, you have this really cute little bundle of pom-poms topping your book. Now, if you don't have a short pocket at the top of your page, you can just make your tag longer and it'll work the same way and tuck it into a bottom pocket. Well, now I'm excited to talk to you about my new project. So many of you have asked me if I would be selling my junk journals, and right now the large ones are really too time consuming for me to be able to do that realistically. But while I was making these pocket fillers, I kind of got the idea, what if I made little mini junk journals? And so I'm making mini junk journals out of vintage playing cards. Well, the covers will be out of vintage playing cards, and they'll have 100 pages. That's what you see me working on here. And I wanted to know, do you think this is something that you would be interested in? I will probably start off just making about 5 of them. They will be $32. That includes U.S. domestic shipping. I probably won't do international shipping on this first go around while I'm still learning the ropes of all of this, but I'll offer them on my Instagram feed, and I just want to kind of test the waters and see if you guys are interested. If you are, then I may expand it into my shop and with international shipping as well. So if you wouldn't mind letting me know your thoughts on that in the comments, or you can direct message me, or you can email me. I'll put all my contact information in the description, and I would just love to know what you think about that. The other thing that I would love to know is, where do you want to see the Pink Paper Peppermints channel go from here? Would you like to keep seeing more junk journal things? Would you like more prayer journal type things or Bible journaling? My style of Bible journaling is really more in a journal. I don't do it in my Bible as much, but I have been wanting to work on a prayer junk journal for myself, and that's something that I could share on the channel. But I'd really like to know what you're interested in, what you want to see. So I would love it if you would leave me a comment and let me know what are the kind of things that you would like to learn about or you'd like to learn more about. And I'm really excited to hear what you think about all this. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you. I feel so honored that you spend part of your day, part of your free time with me, and I just thank you so much for that. And I'm excited for our next video, and I will see you next time here on Pink Paper Peppermints.